Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre with TeddyBaldassarre.com. In this video, we're looking at two of my favorite Zodiac Super Seawolf models with some colorful dials. So in this video and on this channel, we cover watches available for purchase on our website, TeddyBaldassarre.com, as an authorized dealer. So in this video, deep dive on these timepieces, final points of consideration at the end, and also throughout this video, if you have further questions, check out the link in the description down below to the product pages where you can learn more and purchase the watches. But guys, let's jump into the video, take a closer look at these watches. Now, when it comes to underrated, even underappreciated Swiss watch brands that are still operating today, I think Zodiac needs to come to mind. This brand is historically important for a few reasons, but most importantly for the launch of the Seawolf back in 1953. For those not aware, in 1953, we saw the release of two other iconic dive watches with the Blancpain 50 Fathoms as well as the Rolex Submariner. But with this Zodiac Seawolf, it doesn't seem to get the same level of love as some of these acclaimed icons, although still being, of course, at the forefront of the release of commercial dive watches of the period. Zodiac, like many brands, fell in hard time at the later half of the 20th century during the period known as the Quartz Crisis, but have been revamped for the 21st century by their parent group, the Fossil Group, and have made some great strides in bringing back the original design ethos I would say many associate with the brand. We've seen a mix now of forms that align more to the original models of the Seawolf, but also what has been a defining characteristic of the Seawolf family has been their pops of color. And today we're going to look at two colorful variants that are some of my favorites from the collection, with the 9270 Creamsicle with a white and orange color scheme on a rubber strap, and then the 9269 Watermelon, as it's known, on a stainless steel bracelet, being priced between $1,200 and $1,500. So let's take a closer look at these watches. Starting with a detailed look at the case dimensions here, we have a 40mm diameter, a 13.4mm case height, with some of that height being attributed to the lightly domed sapphire crystal on these watches, and a sub 49mm lug-to-lug length. Sharply executed facets and predominantly flat surfaces define the shape of the case as chamfered, polished lugs, and polished coin edge bezel, complete with a mineral crystal top insert, offset the otherwise brushed case. Now, the overall look and feel, along with the jarring pops of color, orients this model towards a sporty execution, obviously, although those few polish areas do help with the refined details to the case. On the wrist, the case feels pretty close to the stated 40mm measurement, running slightly larger than that, somewhere I would say around a 40.5mm perceived measurement, but will wear it well on a wide variety of wrists out there. It does wear thinner than the 13.4mm will suggest, and should have no issues with sliding under different, say, dress sleeves, although I don't know if this is going to be the best pairing with any type of dress attire. A dome screw-down crown is found at the traditional 3 o'clock case position and lies without the safety offered by crown guards, just like the original Seawolf design. Between the screw-down crown and case back, the Super Seawolf is water resistant to 200 meters, making this watch more than capable enough for any undersea adventures should anyone be looking to push this piece to its aquatic limits. Set between 20mm lugs, we have a rubber strap on the Creamsicle, with the Watermelon being supplied with this solid Jubilee-style stainless steel bracelet. Starting with the rubber, the strap is executed in supple, durable-feeling navy blue rubber and executed in the traditional tropic style, but thicker and a bit longer to suit modern tastes and wrists. Tapering to 18mm, the strap terminates at a simple polished pin buckle with the Zodiac signature. Moving over to the bracelet-equipped Watermelon, we have a vintage-style Jubilee bracelet executed in solid stainless steel and composed of a 5-link design with brushed outer links and polished inner links that offer a bit of a vintage Rolex-style presentation. Tapering to 16mm, the bracelet terminates with a butterfly-style push-button operated clasp that feels a bit out of place in this diving-oriented design, but I will say that I do like this bracelet much more than the fold-over lock bracelet you might find in some of the other Seawolf models, just because it's easier to lock and unlock, and I also like the bracelet and its ability to actually expand. So as you'll see with this clasp, it will flex with your wrist, so if you are dealing with any type of swelling during the hot summer months, which I would imagine you might be wearing this watch under those circumstances, it's very helpful to have the wrist be able to move freely without being locked into that same position over and over. The bracelet also is not going to add any additional wear to that length of the case, making it wear very true to that size, or at least not adding anything in addition to that size. And in totality, I think it matches up quite well within the competition for bracelets. Now, diving into these dial designs, it would be fair to first say that these watches are likely not for everyone. With modern Zodiac having leaned into one of the more avant-garde avant-garde color palettes in the modern dive watch space. It does make sense though in Zodiac's case, given the many vintage Zodiac Seawolf models offering similar pops of color during the late 1960s and 70s. In this instance of this modern Super Seawolf, the dial design itself is actually straightforward and legible, with a colorful chapter ring with printed minute markings resting just outside a set of applied rectangular markers, each filled with a surprisingly capable helping of luminescent material. A frame date window rests at 3 with a prominent applied Zodiac logo at noon. Cursive Super Seawolf text is printed just below with automatic in the depth rating at 6. A loom baton style handset keeps time along with a simple sweep second hand with its own rectangular tip and loom within. Looking at the colors, so the Creamsicle has a matte white central dial surface with an orange minute track and complementary bezel, with the Watermelon leaning into a sunray silver central surface with a pink minute track and neon green bezel. Surprisingly, despite the display of colors, both watches remain highly legible, a testament to the basic design's diving roots. Now, turning the Super Seawolves over, we have a solid screw-down case back emblazoned with the Zodiac logo, keeping watch over a caliber from the Swiss movement provider Swiss Technology Production, or known as STP. Now, Swiss Technology Production is a brand that, like Zodiac, is owned by the Fossil Group, with Fossil clearly showing its intention of moving into higher-end Swiss timekeeping. Now, these two watches utilize one of the more popular movements from STP, the 313, a basic automatic caliber that shares much of the architectural elements with the venerable ETA 2824, and therefore also the SW200 from Sellita. While nothing sexy, the STP 313 offers some upspec in the form of bidirectional winding, as well as a swan neck regulator for fine-tuned regulation and more consistent timekeeping. Finishing, likely nothing to speak of, but the movements are hidden behind closed casebacks, and at these prices, it's hard to really expect much in that department. STP movements have started to become more readily available, with, I think, many brands looking away from ETA and the games that sometimes can take place when it comes to getting access to the movements. So Sellita and STP, I would say, are the 2 and 3 in the Swiss watchmaking industry when it comes to supplying third-party movements from the Swiss watchmaking perspective. Just to unpack on this STP 313, you have 28,800 vibrations per hour, 4 Hertz for the movement. It does feature hacking and hand winding, hacking stopping the second hand when you pull the crown to the farthest position, and an extended power reserve of 44 hours compared to some of the base movements from Sellita as well as ETA, with those being around 38 hours to 40 hours approximately. Now, we also did test the timekeeping of both of these examples, and they were keeping pretty solid time, but the Creamsicle actually had a very impressive 0 to +2 seconds a day when testing across 5 different positions. The Watermelon was more at the kind of middle ground in terms of performance. You're looking at +9 to +12 seconds a day while testing across 5 positions. That does give a little bit of a spectrum, but most standard ETA 2824s, if you're talking about a standard grade movement, these are falling both, of course, well within those ranges of deviation. So now let's talk a little bit about these watches. Just specifically, what are some things to consider? Now, I think even without saying anything, you look at the color formats, these are not going to be for everyone. I think these fit in a mold that might fit within a well-established collection, or somebody that really wants that kind of more fun, colorful, playful watch that they could add without having to necessarily break the bank to a crazy degree. Not to say that these are the most entry level of watches, but I think they are still well positioned in the market for what are some of the best dive watches in that $1,000 to $1,500 range. I think the Seawolf certainly has to be one on a short list. I think the other thing here is these watches are more showing reverence to the past, but really not, I think, exhibiting many of the characteristics of a true dive watch from an ISO compliance standpoint. So you have no diver's extension here. It's more of a dive style than a true diver. For many people out there, this doesn't matter, but I do want to mention it given that there is some dive watch pedigree here, being one of the first commercially available dive watches with the original Seawolf. But now flipping over to the pros, I think first, the size is really well done, 40 to a 40.5 millimeter case in actuality. I think this will work on a wide variety of wrists. Loom is also strong on these, even with the colorful array. Strap and bracelets are both solid. I do like this bracelet much more. It's easier to manage, and I do like, despite there not being crazy amounts of micro adjustment, the flexing of the wrist and how the bracelet will have some give to it. This will make it great for that instance where maybe you're swelling. And also from a finishing perspective, I think they're right on par. Maybe not class leading for $1,000 to $1,500, but certainly going to feel the part from a Swiss-made dive watch in this price range. But why I like the Zodiac Super Seawolf, you have history here, but also I think ultimately these are fun watches that even if you're looking for that first dive watch at $1,000 to add to your collection and be that fixture, these might make sense for you. But also, if you're somebody that has a very expansive collection, you have more expensive watches, and just want something that you can just have some more fun with. Maybe wear it to the beach, wear it to the pool, or just wear it on a summer day. These also make a ton of sense. And I think that's why Zodiac is usually a really well-selling brand, and we've seen such a great rise from them in the last 10 years. They're able to be appreciated by all segments of the market. They're a brand with some interesting backstory, and I think the designs kind of speak for themselves. And these are certainly two of their more popular designs, I think for good reason. Colorful, playful, and ultimately well done. All right, guys, well, thank you again so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That does help out the channel. But also, if you're in the market for the watch presented in this video, it is available on TeddyBaldassarre.com. We're a full authorized dealer of over 30 brands, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the new products that we offer. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all next time.